Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Hojo from the Mythicals. It's been a long time since you've been over here. How you doing?
It's been a minute, man. How you doing? Yeah, I'm
I'm
good.
good. Forgive my voice. I don't know. I think I'm at the beginning of getting something, so you're gonna have to
Uh,
talk most of the time.
right on, I could do that.
So how you doing? How you feeling? You just got over being sick.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling good. Had a full week at work where I worked my normal 44 hours. So, um, I funded today on Indiegogo. So hit the fun and goal there.
Nice.
It's been a good day.
Yeah, I got Mythicals #1. Can't wait for Mythicals #2.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
The image that you sent for promotion, I love that image, and I love the coloring. It looks so good.
Yeah, I kind of went for almost like a colored pencil watercolor look with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it same colors for the first issue?
Are you talking about on the interiors or the cover,
Oh,
that thumbnail of her on the bench?
yeah, the thumbnail of her on the bench.
Yeah, that's no, I'd never used this guy before. I was going to use him on the first campaign, but it didn't line up schedule wise, and I
Oh,
went with somebody else. But so came back to him. I had a look in mind. I knew he could pull it off because I looked at his portfolio.
it looks great. Looks great. So you said it's a year ago today the Mythicals launched.
Tomorrow,
Oh,
tomorrow
a
would
year
be
ago
a year.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mythicals. How is it?
Hmm.
You learn stuff. You get battered.
I feel like I got the Reed Richards thing going on now because of it.
Yeah,
It's a little stressful, man. But not saying I'm a seasoned vet, but I know what I'm doing now, like as far as logistically and all that. I know how everything works, and so
yeah,
um, it was a learning curve, man. It's like jumping into an Olympic sized swimming pool with like a rucksack on your back and like, hey, swim to the other side. Like, well, how do I do that? Like, fucking figure it out.
yeah. I know. I was a little naive when I started working on my comic too, and a couple of setbacks, a couple of good things too. Like a lot of people reached out and helped me out. I asked a couple of questions on Twitter, and a bunch of people came and answered. So for every setback, there was just as many set forwards, I guess is the word.
Yeah, and that's all you got to do, right? Just, I mean, ask people. Like,
It's
everybody's been through something, and everybody knows somebody who can help you with something.
Yeah, and everybody's been so helpful.
Yeah,
Everybody's been so
yeah.
helpful and encouraging too. So I'm chomping at the bit to launch mine, but I just can't quite do it yet. A couple.
And and like when people say there's no community, it's not a community, it's an industry. Well, no, what I just described and people helping each other out and making connections, that is community. I mean,
Absolutely. Yes, it's an
so
industry. We're all here to, we're all here to promote our comics, get our comics out there, make a little bit of money because we have to make our
yeah,
comics. Let's be realistic. But so
yeah,
far, maybe I'm naive or whatever, but there's been no jealousy. There's been no, you know, drama,
mm,
for the lack of a better word. Everybody's just been so great. The only drama is me being stupid every once in a while. I'm my own worst enemy.
boy, I hear you there. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't mess with the drama. I'll tease it every now and then, but jealousy. I mean, I guess I haven't noticed it, or maybe I have, and I'm just. It is what it is.
Well, let's.
If you're on the top, people are going to naturally try to knock you down anyway.
Yeah, I said this to a few people. I can't wait to get haters. That
Yeah,
means that means you're arrived, right?
I've gotten a few.
You got haters? Oh, jeez, you can
I've
hear how
gotten a
bad
few. I've
my
gotten
voice
a
is.
few. Yeah,
Who's
I've
your
had.
hater? Who's
I
who?
don't know if I know them by name. Like, I mean, a couple people had. Like, I remember this. I don't even know who it was. It was a female. She was like, "How can you like write a woman and you're not a woman? You've never been inside a woman's head." And I'm like, I've been inside many women.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna.
huh.
I have a snarky answer for that, but
But I'm like, excuse me, this is just a story, ma'am. I don't do drama. I can roll with it.
right.
I'm pretty adaptable.
Well,
It really depends on what's going on.
how can anybody who's not a billionaire industrialist write Batman or
Yeah,
Tony Stark? You know,
right,
I'm not a
right.
sci. Nobody. Dan Slott's the farthest thing from an athletic person, yet he writes Spider Man.
Yeah, right. Mhm.
It's
So
you know, you,
it's my mind, lady. It's
Yeah.
it's just a story, and that's what I preach. It's just a story. It's just entertainment. It's
I
nothing.
had a writing professor back in college at Mr. Torres, Professor Torres, and he had a series of books about Irish immigrants.
Mhm.
And then when he announced that, he just paused because he was just waiting. There was one person in the class. How can you write a book about Irish? And he said, because I do research, because I'm a writer. That's what we do. We imagine
Mhm.
things for a living. He goes, and if you want to write, and it's funny because his wife writes about Aztec civilization, and she's
Mhm.
Irish.
Right, right.
you know,
Oh.
he goes, that's how we met. You know,
Ah. Right.
So I just thought that was so funny. I'll never forget that. He just like, that's the job of a writer, is to do research and write.
Yeah, like on my business card, it says South River Studios, and then it says comic book creator slash scribe of lies. That's what I do, man. I scribble lies down for a living. I just think things up and write them down. That's what
Right.
I do. But I do have a visual imagination. I can draw a little bit. I
Yeah.
do understand how the art works and eye lines and
Yeah. I have a very visual imagination, but I just can't get my hand to cooperate with my brain.
Hmm.
You know, I,
You
I,
can
I,
learn. You can
I
learn. At
tried. I
least,
tried.
like I figure drawing. That's probably the best way to do like a thumbnail if you want to do something like that. To be able to do figure drawing, you don't have to do any muscles. Just a figure drawing. The artist can take it from there.
Yeah. I keep toying with it. I live right by a community college over here, and I keep saying that I want to take an adult figure drawing class. Just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've always wanted to do. Yeah, because I've never taken an art class before. I was always like in high school and college, always drawn towards writing and
Right, right.
and history and writing, never towards the arts. So if I want to do this comic book thing, I think it would be a good idea to take an art class. I'm trying to look at the figures. Is that Captain Marvel Shazam over your head?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the only Captain Marvel, if you ask me.
Mm.
Oh, and you got the Secret Wars. Is that the actual comic, Secret Wars?
Yeah, it's the only slab I have.
Uh,
I bought it like it's back in '09 or something like that, '08, and I knew it was only a matter of time before they did another. Maybe it was before Spider-Man 3. I can't remember. Right around that time, I got it cheap. I got it for $100.
I got you know, I forget what it was, but my buddy just came over yesterday. Yesterday I was pretty absent on all social media. My buddy showed up and we hit all the comic book stores. He comes
Mhm.
to town like once a year, and that's what we do. We hit every back issue bin and everything. And he came into my comic book room, and I have like three slabs and one. Oh,
Cool. My comic book
oh,
room. I wish I could say that.
yeah. Have I showed you my comic book room? Have you
No.
seen? Oh, I'll show you a picture when. But so he went and geez, I can't even remember what it was. I that shows you how interested I am in slabs. And he's like, I said, yeah, I bought that by accident. Oh yes, Cerberus number 11.
Mm-hmm.
Cerberus number 11. And he goes, why'd you buy this on slabs? I said, I didn't realize it was a slab when I bought it. You know,
Mm.
and so I bought another one. But here you go.
Oh yeah, I think you did show me that with
Yeah, I
the
showed that to
Game.
everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
bragging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Brag it up, man. Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel. Yeah, I agree, Marcus. I do like Captain Marvel.
I like a lot of the early issues. Was it Starlin did that?
The Starlin issues, the
Okay.
Pat
Yeah. Yeah.
Broderick
Yeah.
art
Yeah.
later on. That
Yeah.
that was like when I started getting comics. So of course I
Yeah. I
like,
had a bunch of the Starlins and the hand me downs.
and I learned about Captain Marvel Shazam from the Billy Batson TV show when they drove around in the van. That's how old I
I
am.
heard. Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, that's probably before your time. And then the Shazam comic series when they brought it back. With CC Beck doing the art. So I was like, this is weird. It just felt out of place. They tried to recapture the 50s, which it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
I got I think I got the trade when they relaunched it when they tried to. I think it was Ordway did it, and it's like painted.
Oh yeah, the power of Shazam, that is awesome.
Yeah, and it's like they tie it to the Egyptian thing or whatever. That's a good one, man.
That is to me, and I know the old timers will, but to me that is the definitive, Captain
Right.
Marvel, Billy Bats. That is awesome.
I like they did the Trials of Shazam when Freddy, like, he had to go get he had to beat the avatars of the gods to get the power, and it was like a two-part series. I thought that was great.
Is that what Jeff Johns wrote that? Is that when they
Probably.
first started giving him the hood?
Oh, no. This is before that. I have that too, but
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm
hold
getting
on a
mixed up.
second.
But even before that Power of Shazam, they did I forget who. I think it was Roy Thomas and Tom Mandrake. They did a Shazam, and he was like all '80s punk. It just didn't work.
Judd Winnick did it. It's Trials of
Oh
Shazam.
yes, yes, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Because what's this? Black Adam was trying to get the word back, and it turns out Billy changed it to chocolate egg cream, and he was like, "I hate you." So that was great. That was like I missed that, like
yeah.
that's real character. Like I miss
Did,
it so much that these people are incapable of writing it anymore. It bums me out.
it shows you how arrogant I am. Back in like I guess around 2005 or so, I wrote a big write up of my, what do they call it, a treatment of a new Captain Marvel series.
Hmm.
Like based on mythology. Like like I kept saying, like, what is the wisdom of Solomon?
Right.
What is it just like I know facts, like he's the professor on Gilligan's Island? It's still a isosceles triangle, has
Yeah. Right.
I said, you forget, Solomon was the one who trapped all those demons. He had the ring that commanded the genies. He trapped 1,000 jinn in bottles. He commanded demons. So I was just like, Solomon was a wizard, and then Achilles and all the other and the mythological gods with this wizard. And then he went to this rock of eternity beyond time and space. I said, so, like, the earth and science world needs Superman, and then Captain Marvel will be the magical mystical world. And you need, like, the childlike innocence of Billy Batson to power this powerful being to combat, like,
Hmm.
gods of madness, like Cthulhu level threats. And I wrote this big thing, and I was working in Manhattan at the time. I went to the DC office with this envelope thinking, they were like, I don't know if you ever seen that Martin Scorsese movie King of Comedy, when Rupert Pupkin goes in and he just gets, like, escorted out the door. I got the Rupert Pupkin treatment.
Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah.
They
It's like
need me to save comics.
yeah. Yeah, it's like that movie Airheads when they're going there. It's like, I can't take that. You're gonna have to get out of here. Like, it's
Yeah.
unsolicited material. You got to get out of here. Yeah,
So I always
that's
wonder,
why.
like,
I mean, that's why. I guess that's why I waited so long after the like when I was gonna submit to CrossGen and came back and they were out of business. The guy was like, "We can get a packet together and submit to Image." I'm like, "Okay, I'm out." I mean, at that time I couldn't chase after something like that with no previous work.
oh really? So
So
you tried to submit to CrossGen?
we were going to, but they're out of business when we got back.
You know what's funny? I don't know what it is about CrossGen, but I completely missed them. Like, I vaguely remember the comics in the store. And nowadays I've been buying a lot of old CrossGen. They're excellent comics.
Sojourn, I love that one, man.
Yeah, I got a stack of Sojourn. I haven't read it yet. I just finished up
And Way of the Rat.
Crossovers. Away of the Rat was excellent.
Yeah.
I'd love to know where that was going. Braith was great.
There's another one I'm trying to think of. I'm just totally memory
Muse
hole.
was good. I read the 4-issue series. Now I'm going to start the main series, and I'm getting all of those Sigil verse comics.
Sigil, that's it. That's what it was. Yeah,
And Sojourn looks amazing.
yeah.
So many good cross-gen comics. I haven't read a bad one yet. I really would
They
like to
just
ask John
burn
Dixon.
themselves out, man.
What's that?
They burn themselves out. Like
What killed them? Do you know?
the founder, dude. There's
Yeah.
a good I can't think of who told the story, but talk to like Andy Smith. Andy Smith was there. Chuck Dixon was there. Like he just spent way too much money. Um, was thinking they were gonna get like some movie deals and just
Yeah.
paying outrageous money.
Marcus says simply they didn't sell. I mean,
Yeah, it was hard. It was a hard sell at that time, man. Because what year was this? This was like, I guess Bendis had just did the whole Avengers Disassembled.
yeah,
Um,
Bendis patient zero for the whole wokeness in comics, if you ask me.
yeah, Lepresti was there.
Yep,
Mark Waid was there. Why don't you
yep,
talk to him?
yeah. I try. I
I
try. I
bet you
send a
do.
message.
I bet you he's going to answer you real fast
Yeah, I
with
know.
people that you've had
That,
on here.
who's the bad guy here? I'm willing to talk. I'm willing to talk. I would love to get Kelly Sue DeConnick, Gail Simone, and Heather Altos and talk to him.
I mean, I love Kingdom Come. I mean,
Mark Waid is a good comic book writer. You
he
know,
can be. He can be. The Flash stuff to me, that's what got me reading some DC stuff.
yeah.
Because I love
What
I
he
was
did
right
before.
there with the Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner period, and it was just great work.
Yeah, they use that sigil as the overall theme, and there was a lot to get into. Yes,
Yeah, that was a big universe to build there.
and what got me was reading Braith. To me, it really, Braith, for those of you who don't know, he was like a Celtic warrior fighting Roman soldiers who were invading Britannia, and it really took away from it that it wasn't based in history. You know, like they could have made up Roman names, and
Right.
but the fact that it wasn't Earth kind of made me think, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the same with Way of the Rat. The fact that it wasn't really China kind of ruined it a little bit for me.
China.
So I'd like what Chuck Dixon said. He just ignored all the Sigilverse stuff and told the stories he wanted to tell.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, if he knew it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, you listen to Chuck Dixon. There's a reason why. There's a reason why he's a legendary comic book writer.
I love his Nightwing stuff, man.
Yep, I'm going through.
Almost, I like that better than the Batman. Sorry, Joe.
Oh, really?
And better than the
Don't be
Punisher.
sorry. You like what you like. I have a fondness for his Airboy. I don't know what it is about Airboy, but that is such a bizarre world. And when they asked him if to bring back Airboy, they kind of wanted him to just dump all the mystical stuff. He goes, "No, that's the fun stuff."
No, yeah, it worked.
Yeah. Chuck Dixon talks about CrossGen often. A lot of people ask him questions, and I know when he's been on my channel, I ask him a few times, but I don't take notes because I'm not a prepare guy. I'm not a Batman. I'm not a prep time guy. I'm more of a, I don't know, who's a fly on the seat of their pants kind of guy.
Guy Gardner, you're the Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner guy.
Yeah.
And again, forgive me, guys. I really, I'm off for a month and I get sick. Why can't I be sick when I'm working?
I know. Did you see the Superman like cast list or whatever, and they showed the people? I don't know if that's.
Oh yes. And Kevin McGuire said he was going to draw a picture of them in costumes.
So they're the guy from Firefly is really going to be Guy Gardner.
Is that perfect casting or what?
No shit, but I mean, I wish it would have happened 10 years ago. But still,
I know. How old is he now? He's got to be pushing like.
They're not going to give him the bull. They can't give him the bull cuts. They're not going to. You think James Gunn's? They might make fun of him or something and be like, "No, you're going to have to change it or something," or this, or like this is what he used to look like.
It took me a long time to like Guy Gardner because they made him like a straw man conservative. They gave him all bad traits and then attacked the bad traits that they made up. I did like that later on when he was dating Ice, they kind of made him a little bit nicer, and then for a while he was a pretty good character.
I thought the Warrior stuff, man.
And then speaking of, I just finished reading Local Man by Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley and he's trying to come on my channel, but he has COVID right now. But there's a character in this that is, I just want to ask him, I'm like, how bad do you hate Christians? I guess every bad guy is a conservative Christian. Even the one guy that was supposed to be sympathetic to is just like rotten. I'm like, I know. Republicans just want to kill all minorities. I know, Excuse me. I really apologize for this. I didn't think I was going to be so bad until I started talking.
You're cool. It doesn't bother me.
I like that. What did it say? There's like a lot of comics in here.
Yeah, my wife got that for me for Christmas. So that she gets me.
And what that X-Men is that a facsimile edition?
That's a toy.
Like that's the toy. It. Yeah, I got that too. Yeah, now I see the black line. Yeah, the
Toy Biz,
the original X-Men. That is awesome.
Yeah,
I they
I've never
made one
taken
of
it
them
out.
for the X-Men, and then they made one for the original X-Men, and I was dying for that same series to put out an original Kirby Fantastic Four, and they never
Never
did.
did it. Never did it.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? What do you think of the Fantastic Four movie coming out now?
I feel
Cautiously
like a battered,
optimistic.
I feel like a battered housewife. Maybe the next one will be good, and it never is. Uh, I, I I just have a visceral hatred of Pedro Pascal. You know, I just don't like him. Like and also since the Ant-Man movie, I've really cooled on the MCU. So to the point where I'm not seeing them in the movies anymore, and I will watch them at home if I get enough feedback that they were good.
I haven't watched any of the content since the last Avengers movie. No
The
Disney
last
Plus, none of that. Nope,
I
it doesn't
I
exist to me.
I saw I saw Infinity War in the movies. I thought it was excellent, and then Endgame. I saw with a group of friends, and it was like the last time we all hung out before COVID, and then all this craziness started, and we never saw each other again.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it for that. But even in the movies, I didn't like. They were all raving about it. We all went to dinner, and I kept my mouth shut because I hated it. I hated Endgame.
See,
I just thought it was a lazy. I've
man, the
rewritten that
Fat
movie.
Thor dude and all that. It was a little much. There was too much joke. James Gunn ruined the MCU.
I'm not going to argue with that. You know, I
Him
liked.
and Taika with Titty.
Yeah, I get so mad. Valkyrie, despite the fact that you abandoned your post and you've been drunk for 2,000 years, we're going to make you the leader of Asgard because there's nobody here who stayed and defended the realm who's worthy enough. We need to
Nobody,
find a
nobody at all.
deserter,
Yeah.
an alcoholic deserter to rule. I just can't stand. And then the Loki series, like I watched the Loki series, I'm like, this is the guy that killed more New Yorkers than Bin Laden. When is he going to get punished for his crimes? And I know he's supposed to be a different version. I don't care about that. I hate this multiverse. You could commit the most heinous crimes and then pull another guy out from a magic hat. Now,
I
like,
mean, they wrote themselves into a corner big time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever,
I
man.
haven't watched
Whatever.
She-Hulk. I haven't watched
Like,
Ant-Man.
see, I was a big Defenders fan, so
The
like
comic.
the Valkyrie that I see on the screen, I'm just like,
That's on her.
hmm,
I have become zero tolerance on race swaps, gender swaps, sex swaps, anything. I want it to be like the new Avatar live action show is dead on arrival.
you're a traditionalist.
I got enough.
You're an originalist. Where they talk about the Constitution, you're an originalist.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I hear
I,
you, man. Like the
I have
Moon
no
Knight
one. I
looks
have
good
enough
in the
to
trailer.
entertain me.
Yeah,
I could watch The Odd Couple, Jack.
right.
There's still so much TV that I haven't watched yet. I still have 22 long boxes of comics that I haven't read yet. I'm good.
Yeah,
You want me? You got to earn me, baby. I'm not
yeah,
easy.
yeah,
Woo
man.
me, woo me.
Like,
Tell me I'm sexy. Tell me I'm pretty. And
and
maybe
people are like going gaga over this Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, I'm cool. I'm like that. That's what I say. I'm like, cool. I'm glad you do enjoy it. I hope it is good. But
yes, yeah. I don't begrudge people enjoying things. It's
I'm
just like
not interested at the point. I was never a big Spider-Man collector. I was a bandwagon Spider-Man fan. I collected the Clone Saga. Uh, and I did rock the Scarlet Spider-Man. I loved that era. It's People hate that era of Marvel Comics, but for me, that's my formative years.
yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah,
The decade of the '90s. I was 10 to 20. You know,
there you go. You're gonna love that stuff. You know,
so
you
I
form
mean,
some great memories too.
everybody. I mean, my friend, he said that he's like everything after Age of Apocalypse. All of it is fan fiction as far as the X-Men goes. He said the rest of it sucks. He said, and I'll go so far as to say, even the Jim Lee Claremont was trash. And I'm like, okay, I'll get it. Based on the
I like
Claremont of the '70s, you can say that.
I I quit collecting the X-Men at issue 204. I had enough. The X-Men became whiny hypocrites so bad I couldn't take it anymore. So
So you didn't like the Outback era? Was that was before that, right?
I quit right before the Outback era.
Because I liked it. That's when I jumped on. That's when I started reading X-Men.
Yeah, well
Like,
then you go, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, my first X-Men comic was they were trapped in the Savage Land after that fight with Magneto.
yeah.
So that was issue 112 or 114. I forget the number.
Okay.
And then it was Adventure Comics. Then the
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix, and then lately it just became they don't like me. I was like, oh my god, I can't take this anymore. And then the final straw was they arrest Magneto, they bring him to trial, and then the X-Men, who just want to be treated like everybody else, break Magneto out from his own trial and say he's not going to get a fair trial. How do you know? And on whose authority? We just want to be treated like anybody else. But when we are treated like anybody else, we're going to break them out and hide them and harbor a mass murderer, just like we did to Sabretooth, and it bit them in the ass twice. I was
He's
like, I'm
one
done.
of us.
Yeah. Yeah. We just want to be treated like everybody else, but with special privileges.
Yeah.
So maybe it is like an allegory for modern progressivism.
I mean, so it got really dark in the mid '80s. Though you had like the Mutant Massacre and all that, and so were you down with that? Like I always like to pick the brains of others.
I'm weak. I went on Twitter and I bought like a 200 issue run for like $100.
Huh.
So I got like two long boxes, bagged and boarded, mailed to me. And it was funny because the guy put a note, said, "Man, you really got me." Like he thought he put it for bidding. I paid almost more in shipping than I did for the comics. So I think I'm up to like X-Men 400 as far as in my collection. But I stopped month to month on two, and I've been read them all. The Jim Lee X-Men and
like the late '90s, like the like when they had, what was it, like the Search for Xavier, and it was like God, what was it? Marrow and like this dude named Maggot. It was like a South African. These like little
creatures would come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just done with that, man. I was like, all right. And then they're like, "Ooh, we're bringing back Colossus from Excalibur," because Excalibur had just gotten canceled, and I read that all the way up. I read the entire run of that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a big B-sides fan. Like I was Excalibur and X Factor. I'm a Defenders, not Avengers.
It's funny. I always thought the Defenders were my comic because, like, back in the newsstand before the comic book stores, before the direct market, Defenders were like hard to find in my area. So, like, me and my friends who collected comics, there was like this legend. Well, there was Master of Kung Fu, Power Man, Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, and Defenders. They were like legendary because for whatever reason they weren't in my area. So I don't know if like other kids were scooping them up first or they just didn't ship them to my area. So like, I would go to my cousin's house in a couple of towns away. And I remember on the spinner rack, they had all those comics that I couldn't find in my town. So she would buy them for me. And I never had them in order, but I was always like the guy who had the Defenders, so that's always been my comic, so I'm a very affectionately memory for the Defenders. I love them.
Yeah, and I kind of like what do they call it, a non-team. It was just like a bunch of people who almost didn't really like each other, but they just like, all right, we have to save the world. The Avengers are busy, I guess.
Yeah, we're a non-team, but we hang out together. We have a headquarters. We
have a rotating member, like in those guest spots that were like the Defenders for a day. That shit was cool, man. And like I did that, I poured that into the Mythicals. They're a team, but like they don't all necessarily like each other. They just got nowhere else to go.
Oh yeah, well yeah, they're monsters and outcasts. They can't just hang out at the supermarket.
It is like Hellboy. He can't just go walking on the street. Some of them can, but the vampire can't without getting looked at all the time.
Yeah. So back to the Mythicals. For those of you who don't know, Hojo over here has a comic called The Mythicals. It's live right now, right?
Yep. On Fund My Comic and Indiegogo.
Yeah, so I got issue number 1. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to issue number 2. And it's like to me, it's like I can't talk about the Mythicals without bringing up like Hellboy, but it's like almost like monstrous creatures investigating the paranormal, superhero monsters. I love that. Absolutely. I don't know if you read Horace H. Hoover, but
I've been meaning to from Fabrizio.
Yeah, Fabrizio. Yeah. Get that.
Yeah. Some I see some of his line work on Twitter, and I'm just, oh, it looks so great. Yeah. I've been meaning to do it.
Yeah, that's fun. You could get that on Alterna Comics.
Yeah.
Right now, it's up. Issue number 3 is being offered right now. you guys are like the triumvirate of that, occult, superhero, mystery, horror.
Yeah.
It's so and I love all three of these comics. So there you go. And I love it. And it's funny that my comic is gonna be traditional superheroes. So as much as I love the occult aspect of comic books and monsters, although if I make it far enough, there will be some occult mysticism.
Yeah. And I don't know if I could ever do like a traditional superhero comic. I don't know if I could do it. Like if somebody was like, all right, we're bringing in a Marvel. You're writing you're writing Spider-Man, or you're writing this, that. I could do the Hulk.
You could write the hell out of Hulk. Huh?
Marvel.
Monster.
I could fix the Hulk. I could make him the most. If you give me a year, I could make that the most profitable title at your company. But you just gotta let me do it my way. You gotta let me bring him out of this. And here's the thing: I hate the horror angle that they have done, like the Immortal Hulk run. Alex Ross covers, beautiful. I can't do the rest, man. That whole the door, the green door, and it sounds like a porno from the 70s.
Yeah.
I
unfortunately know what you're talking about.
Yeah. My dad had it. That's what I know. I just remember something about a green door. But
behind the green door.
Yeah. And I was like, man, this is wrong. He might be a psychological horror, but like to bring it into like this mysticism and horror and all that, I can't do it, man. Like the one who dwells below, like I can't do it. You got to bring it back to the basics.
See, I haven't bought any new Marvels since 2015, and I've been hearing Immortal Hulk is good.
I hear it all the time, and I'm out there on Twitter. I'm like, you people are stupid. It's not good, but enjoy it if you like it. The covers are boss, man.
My dream as a kid has been to grow up and write the Fantastic Four. Yeah. And now the idea of writing for Marvel kind of gives me the shudders.
Now, see, I might be able to handle something like the Fantastic, but I could handle something cosmic. I'm not really a closet sci-fi fan, but like I have a sci-fi idea that I've been cooking since it's older than the Mythicals. I've been doing that since I've had this idea since 1993. Like, do you remember that Marvel title Sleepwalker? Everybody always like he was lame. I have a spin on that was so awesome.
I love the idea of and I almost gave a spoiler to a future issue, but if my comic makes it, I'm gonna have an issue about a dream-based superhero. I love that idea. I
this
think
isn't really dream-based. Him and an alien would share a body, and they can only communicate and talk to each other like face to face during like a sleep. But the alien doesn't know how to.
That's what I mean by like a dream sleep. I just love that concept.
Yeah. That's why the Lucent was so good. I like that whole dream thing.
Cliff Warbury, first off, thank you for watching. I don't think I recognize your name, so thanks a lot, buddy. I've seen videos where YouTube creators swear by CrossGen. It's a great company. Great comics. Just almost pick up anything. But I'll say Way of the Rat. The problem is a lot of them got canceled. They weren't concluded.
Yeah.
It had many great IPSs. I didn't read Sojourn yet, but I have the whole stack right over here.
That's a good one.
I'm going to start reading it.
That's probably going to be your favorite.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Because you're into like D&D, right?
Oh yeah.
You're gonna. That's going to be Way of the Rat's already number 2. Just as soon as after you read the first issue of Sojourn, just remember what I said.
Okay.
Way of the Rat's number 2.
Why can't I remember the pirate story now? Oh, geez. There was a 6-issue pirates, full on pirates, no mystical, no monsters, just a full on pirate story. And then I hear what Chuck Dixon had in mind for series 2. I'm like, oh man. But the problem with CrossGen is DC bought all the rights and buried them. They were going to make a Way of the Rat cartoon movie. Such good IPs.
Yeah, so, that's what I heard they were banking on with some TV deals and stuff like that, movie stuff. But
and I want to ask Chuck Dixon if he sees any similarity between CrossGen and now the Rippaverse. Guy coming in with a lot of money, throwing money around, and how long is that going to last? I feel bad saying it, considering Eric's been on my channel twice. He's been nothing but nice to me, but I'm also not going to twist reality and lie.
He's made a lot of money.
Yeah. So did CrossGen make a lot of money at first?
I think in the beginning, like Comets Burn Bright.
Yeah.
So,
as I was saying, the Fantastic Four, I'd love to write. And the 2 Fantastic Four, and then Captain Marvel, Shazam. Those are the two. I don't feel that I have the right to write Superman. You know, like
Yeah.
of course we're talking about imaginary world where they Marvel and DC pointed to us. You know what I mean? But I think I would be too intimidated because Superman is such an important.
I don't know if I could do it. What could I say that hasn't already been said?
Right. Like he deserves better than me is what I'm saying.
Am
You
I
know
going
what
to
I mean?
have him fight Darkseid? Oh, I haven't seen that before. Like, am I going to kill him? It's been done before too. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. I think I could. I have like the seeds of a couple of good Superman stories, but I don't know if I could be a long-term Superman writer. But the Fantastic Four, like you said, it's
I'd be
sci-fi.
afraid to meddle with anything like history wise or add something, or like every writer just likes to add something of themselves. You know, you should add. I don't know if I could do. I don't know if I could do that because that'd be too much pressure. But you ruined it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
The Fantastic Four, I'm like, you stick with the family aspect, the sci-fi, and exploring, and I think that writes itself.
Yeah,
You know,
solving a problem that no one else can solve.
and
That's really
Captain
it.
Marvel, like I already said, he's this godlike wizard that hangs out beyond time and space, and it's like these elder beings. That's what Captain Marvel like the average human shouldn't even know about the stuff that Captain Marvel, Billy Batson deals with. You know, and the childlike innocence of Billy Batson is why he was selected to protect himself from the madness and temptation of these like demonic gods. I don't know. That's anybody in the audience think that's a good idea? Maybe I'll put it in my own comic someday.
That's a good idea. So are you doing a floppy or are you doing
Yes, I wanted. I have a 22-page main story, and if thing goes well, if I hit a stretch goal, I'll have an 8-page backup about a villain, unheroic tales, the origin of a character who will play a major part in stories in the future.
Smart. Smart.
And then I'm going to put in some ads, not ads for like McDonald's or anything like fake hostess ads and stuff like that. I want to do a letters page, and it all depends on stretch goals. I want to do trading cards with like D&D stats of my characters. I've been trying to contact the people that own the Village Vigilantes game because my comic is all inspired from years of me playing that game. So I'd like to do it with their permission. I don't want to get in trouble or what I mean.
Right.
And
a lot of people I see do Marvel cards like the it's like the layout of the Marvel series too, like the early 90s.
I'd like to do something like that. Put like their strength, whatever, intelligence, constitution, and and then like their hit points and explain a little bit about their powers. And then I'd like to do like a who's who, like the patriarch, who's who, enough stuff that I can tell without spoiling stuff, because I'm not telling the origin in the first issue.
I always wish Marvel would have done something like that, like a who's who.
Well, they did the Marvel Universe.
I guess I never saw it.
Oh, I did a whole series on my channel about the Marvel Universe.
I'll go back and watch.
The problem with the Marvel Universe is they tried to explain scientifically how the living laser generates energies in his cells, and when he moves his arm, I don't care. Just tell me he shoots laser beams. Like the who's who just said Superman flies and strong.
Right. You're right.
Don't explain to me. Don't. We buy the fact that the living laser shoots laser beams. We buy the fact that that you don't need to explain how. To me, that takes away from it. My character can fly. You want me to explain how the molecules and ATP and whatever the mitochondria do this? No,
that's a storytelling thing too. Like I'm noticing like with some indie stuff that I've seen reviews, people are like they're explaining too much with word bubbles or like narration boxes. It's a comic book. Show people. You don't have to tell them. They're not. Your readers aren't stupid. I'm not critiquing anybody's work. I'm just saying, like, I've started to notice that's becoming a common theme. I don't have any really training. I took some creative writing courses. That's it. I just know comics, and I studied up on how to make a comic book, like the Eisner books and stuff like that. They're a few other things.
Yeah, I'm looking. I got the Eisner book. Yeah, I forgot where I just put it. But best advice I ever got was I was sending my scripts and my ideas to a couple of guys who made comics. One of them, Brian Bow, who does Wolf and Batsy, and he was just like, "You got great ideas, but it's all world building and no characters."
Yeah.
And I was like,
And you got a team book, yeah.
you know what I mean? I was
That's
like, oh,
everything. The characters, and you got 22 pages. You got to make it. However many, how many people are on your team in your book? Like
it's just one. It's
it's just one guy. Okay,
we
good.
got it's heroic tales. The first issue is the patriarch. The second issue is going to be another superhero, Mary Sue, and then the third issue. I don't want to spoil it, but
Gotcha.
every issue is going to showcase a different superhero, and then the team will be formed.
Right.
You
That's
know, so
smart. That's a good build up.
you know
Like
what I mean.
mine.
It worked for the
I
Marvel Universe before they went crazy. You know,
Yeah, with like the mythicals, I don't like. You read issue one.
yeah,
You met a couple members.
right.
Can't introduce them all in 24 pages. Everybody is going to get like one page. But hey, I'm this guy. I do this, and that's it. You got to throw a little meat on the bones there. Like
I like what Cliff says. He says, I like fictional explanations and fictional stories. It's if it sounds like it's real, then it makes a fictional aspect world character. Yes. What the DC Who's Who did is it went for believability over realism.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I like the DC Who's Who better because they just were like they just glossed over, but they didn't say like the mitochondria and this. Like anybody who knows anything about biology could explain to you why that
yeah,
doesn't work.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so yes, comic books needs believability, not realism, if that makes sense.
Yes, and a good example is like when I said I quit reading the X-Men and all that is because I was reading the Vertigo line.
I'm a big fan of the Vertigo comics.
That's when comics like all changed to me, and I started getting introduced to
I'll
like
show
some.
my Vertigo nerd cred right here.
Oh man, that's a Sandman key.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I had to reassess what I thought because I was getting exhausted with just like an event, or like just dragging out stories. Like was Peter Simeti writing for the trade,
I'm
and like,
rereading this right now. The Books of Magic. You know, some
oh
Vertigo.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh like for me, what changed it, and this was like it was Grant Morrison's Animal Man. Uh,
Animal
I
Man #5
I
is
thought he
perhaps
was a
the best comics
joke.
of all time.
I was like, Buddy Baker, this guy's he's like a D level character. He sucks. And then like my friend gave me like 3 issues. He's like, dude, just read them. And I was like, all right, because I trusted the guy. Even I'm like 13, 14. Like, what is this? And like,
Yeah,
I heard of Swamp. He's like, you ever read Swamp Thing? I was like, yeah, I know who Swamp Thing is. I'm not stupid, but I didn't know all that.
yeah,
And then Sandman crept in, and then it was just
yeah.
I can't.
Vertigo.
And then I was like, I can't read Cape shit anymore. I can't read that anymore. I can't look at Image and be like, oh, let me. I did get Spawn 350 today, by the way, but I was like, I can't go back to reading Spawn right now because it's not in that. It wasn't really in a horror vibe at the time. It was
I
more of
I
a.
I noped out of Spawn almost as fast. It was like a match. Oh, go! And it burnt
I
out
used
really
to go
quick.
back like every 50 issues. I'd get a milestone issue.
You know, and it's funny because I have a lot of friends that temporarily got into comics. You know, the definition of tourists, but they meant well. They tried to like it, and they all got into Image. You know, back in the late '90s,
I was a good
everybody got
gateway
into
for a lot of
Image,
people.
and they all gave me their comic collections when they grew out of it. So I have a ton of Image comics. You know, they were like, "Give it a good home. I know you'll like it." You know, and I had to read them because
No,
I
I
have
don't
to.
like.
You know,
Some of it.
but
I did like Image. Like had its bright spots. Like I like the Authority.
the Authority was
Uh,
excellent.
I
They
loved.
did have good stuff. I'm not pooping on the whole company. They
Yeah, I
did have.
loved the Adventures of Max Faraday. I love that. That was probably my favorite.
Oh wow, I don't have that one. I didn't
Jim
even
Lee
hear of it.
drew it. God, what was it? It was like
Wow,
Max
don't.
Faraday.
That's just what I need. Another comic series to get. But I love the Alan Moore.
Divine Right. That's what it is. Divine
Oh,
Right.
Divine Right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just did a video on it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
that
that.
series. That
Like
was
that
the
one.
first. That was the first Image comic that I got for the writing over the art, and that was Jim Lee art. So I
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wildstar Ordway was good. There was good. Team 7 I liked. Chuck Dixon doing Team 7. That was I'm trying to think. The Authority I love. Planetary is one of my favorite comics.
Yeah. Planetary was good.
There was a lots of but I'm talking like the original stuff. Like I think I got the first 10 issues of Spawn, and I literally didn't read another Spawn comic, I think, until issue 200. I
mean,
just
I had some of the darkness. I mean, because it was Silvestri, it was beautiful. It was actually decent in the beginning. Then I was just like, once they start doing like the Witchblade stuff, and like it was like super powered Lois and Clark or whatever. I didn't, just wasn't for me anymore. So I just started branching out, and like stuff like Astro City.
Astro City is
Like,
one of my favorite comics.
yeah, I mean, it's like storytelling, man. Like, I'm a
Right.
writer. Like, that's when I knew. I'm like, yeah, I guess I could say my taste evolved. I don't want to make it sound like I'm shitting on where I
If
came from.
my comic Heroic Tales, I would compare it to Astro City in the fact that it's going to be a self-contained story every issue with a different superhero, and then
Yeah,
I'll
that's
come back
cool.
to that superhero, and God willing, if it's successful, there's a demand for it. I'll make a Patriarch series, and if issue 2 people like Mary Sue, I'll do a Mary Sue series. I got enough ideas, but right
Yeah.
now, yeah, that's what I want to do. I wanted to get back to the Animal Man, the Coyote Gospels, issue 5. Was that not the greatest comic ever written?
Oh, dude, that's and it was so like Grant Morrison for me now is like hit or miss. Like I didn't like what he did with X-Men. And that's when I jumped back on X-Men. Like,
Yeah, funny. That's funny that you said that. That's what got me to buy all the back issues so I could read up the Grant Morrison stuff.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Ethan Van Sciver actually did some work on that.
Yeah, phenomenal artwork on it. Yeah,
Yeah, like Beak, like it was his character. But I mean, none of that was just. That's when I was just like, it's not. This isn't what I want to read anymore. That I was confident after. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. And I just quit reading comics for a while, and then I got back into it when I was in the army because there's a comic shop like maybe 50 feet outside the gate, and I was like, oh, I'll just hang out here, and started reading some. That was when I got back on with the Avengers, and Bendis broke everything, and the Ultimate line had come out, been out for a couple years. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good, it's cool. Then it just got really stupid. Like all of this Ultimate stuff, like it was just, and the reboots. The reboots, you just tell the same stories. You're not rebooting anything.
right.
You're remaking it. It's not a reboot.
DC redoes the Crisis, and then the first thing they start to have is the Legion of Superheroes are doing the Great Darkness saga again. It's like, dude, I already read that.
Yeah, what are we going to do with the Titans? We're going to do another Judas contract? I mean, come on, what are we doing here? I'm just reading like Brett Booth, phenomenal artist. I go to Ollie's. Do you know what Ollie's is?
Yeah, we got an Ollie's right over here.
Have you gotten some trades there?
I this is what I bought at Ollie's just because
I hit a stack the other.
How can I say no to an Ankylosaurus?
Yeah. I hit a
excuse me
stack. Oh, you're good. Bless you. I hit a stack of trades that I'm gonna go back and get next week. So I bought, it was like a Flash hardcover. It was like $6, but it's like, I didn't know they retold Zoom, a Zoom tale, and they made him like, it's Brett Booth drawn, and I don't know who wrote it. It started off really cool at first because it was just like, Zoom's a shark in the water. You don't know him, but you see like that little yellow thing go through, and then you see the eyes. It's Zoom because he's on the. But apparently he's like gathering a team of people throughout history and manipulating them so he can destroy the Flash. But it just didn't work for me. It fell off. And I finally read Court of Owls for the first time.
Court of Owls, to me, it started out so good. I got,
and it sucked. And then what the fuck happened, dude?
And then it just dropped the ball. And I hate to say it, but that's the way I feel about Jonathan Hickman. He starts out so good.
I've never really read any of his stuff. Yeah,
I like him, and I feel bad saying it, but like Jonathan Hickman starts out so good, and he never finishes. Like he had a comic called East to West, and I was like, he made like glyphs, and I was trying to figure out what the glyphs meant, and I'm like, you know what? I lost. You've been telling us I'm up to issue 36. Give me something.
I know.
Like that's one thing I'm trying to do in every comic that I'm gonna make is I'm gonna drop a nugget in every comic. Otherwise, you feel like you're the carrot and the stick. You know what I mean? Give the readers something. Jonathan Hickman, it's like,
yeah, mine's 13 issues. Spoiler alert, guys. The Mythicals
13 is a good number of issues.
We're done, and it's a double-sized finale. So we're gonna just we're gonna drain the balls on that one. But like each issue is self-contained. It's a story. It's like an adventure, because especially after the first 2 issues of the Mythicals is like a 2-part pilot for a TV show.
Okay.
Issue 3 is issue 1 is her getting recruited by this agency. Issue 2 is her going to work for the first time,
Right.
learning, it's her first day on the job. Issue 3, first case. So this is like, the X-Files. Like eventually, they met up in the pilot, and they're like,
but
now we're gonna have the case.
Nancy Moon, if I remember correctly, she's like a witch. She's got like
witchy powers. Yeah, she's a witch.
Yeah.
And so she finds out more about that, like what exactly a mythical is. It's like a blanket term, like mutant or metahuman or whatever. But each issue is self-contained from here on out. But they all connect on the previous one. So once we get to like issue 8 or 9, you're gonna look back at issue 1 and be like, that makes sense. I see that now.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I wrote this backwards anyway. I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I got the first 10 issues plotted out, a couple of issues scripted, and I had to rewrite a couple of scripts because I made issue 2, issue number 1. You know what I mean? Because once I started realizing I couldn't hit the ground with too much world building. I have to make it mean something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. There is some exposition, but you have to do an exposition dump every now and then.
You have to make the people like I'm not telling the origin of the patriarch until maybe issue 5 because who cares?
And there's like a couple. It's just like I'm breaking into a day in the life, and this is just what they're talking about. Like her interview in the first issue, and he mentioned something, and he doesn't need to explain the incident. He was like, "Oh, this is about the sorority incident." But that's all he needs to say because that's what's there. He doesn't need to look at the audience. The sorority incident. You mean the one where ... We don't need to do that. Give me some time, man. I'm gonna get there. Get there.
Trust me.
Yes, yeah. Trust me with your money and your time.
Yeah.
Because it's a good story. It's entertaining. Like people, like. And in issue 2, you're getting an extra 2 pages. So like people have said, like it's a quick read, but it's a long story. Like you feel like it's a lot longer than it is because you're glued to every page and you're reading. You're like, oh, and then there's a twist. Literally, sometimes a twist, a snap. So, but you're getting more of the story with issue 2. We're going to fill in a few blanks and add a few characters to the story. And then find out where we're really going with this thing. By the time we get to issue 4, everything is going to be made clear, and you can just sit back, and we're going to be on cruise control until we get to the end.
Yeah, I'm there.
You were backer number 1 on this one.
Yeah, I was backer number 1. I've been trying to get to be backer number 1 on somebody. It's
Alex VRB is going to hunt you down.
Yeah, he's going to be mad. You were on Bancroft,
he was number. And
2. I was like hitting buttons with my
I don't know how people do it.
Abilities,
the closest I've ever gotten to number 1 is like when Von Klaus did him and Adam Lawson launched Psycho Killers. I got backer number 5, but I had to refund because they added that $15 tip on Indiegogo. Stupid. So I didn't get that, but I was still in the initial 100 or something for some kind of perk.
For Tonic Wolf Saving the World issue 10. I was fumbling to try to get, because he was like, issue number 1 gets a special prize. I don't know if he was just, saying so or whatever, but I was like, I think I was backer number 3. Yeah. I'm loyal to everybody, and that so far.
And speaking of loyal to that guy, like Pixel Trader, I'm 100% loyal to that guy. He is. I wouldn't be here without that guy at all. He does everything for me because I'm digitally retarded, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, when I started writing my comic, I started hiring Renzo to do my art. I got
Renzo Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I realized somebody was like, so who's you doing your own flatting? I'm like, what's flatting? And then other people started explaining to me all the steps that I didn't even know were steps. So I had to reach out, and I got another guy to do my graphics and my, it was just like a learning curve. Like not that I was a naive kid. I'm a freaking old man, but I was naive.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, would I have done all this had I known? Yes, but it would have been easier because I had hiccups and bumps along the way.
Yeah, and
people will go clockwork.
A lot of newer creators should take heed of a lot of this, and I hate to steal his catchphrase. Glenn Beck always says, "Do your own homework." You
Yes.
got to research these things. You got to price out the perks. You can't, like, some guy came on. I was trying to pitch it to this guy earlier today on Indiegogo. He saw that it was only $500, and it's like, yeah, this isn't even worth to print. You're not gonna be able to do anything with this. It looks great, but sorry, no thanks. I was like, you do realize that, like, I got over $10,000 on the other platforms together, and then I did the last one like less than 5 months. Got it out there. Can't do it this time because, like I said, I have had some delays. But
Yeah, that was a weird thing. He said if he can't flip it and sell it, he's not
I don't
interested.
know what the hell he was talking about. So
yeah, I don't know either.
you know what that says to me? You're not a collector of comics, which is cool.
You're a speculator.
You're a speculator. You want to sell. That's fine, man. I'm selling a comic book. I'm not selling a commodity. I'm not selling a product. I mean, I guess it's a product.
Yeah, you're selling a product. Your
product. At the end of the day, it's a product, but I'm selling. This is my business, and I'm selling entertainment.
Yeah, I saw that exchange, and I was gonna comment, but
it's fine.
No, I didn't, because I didn't quite understand what was going on. You know what I mean? So I was like, maybe there's something I just don't understand.
I went back and read it, and I saw like the $7 comment. I'm like,
Sometimes on Twitter, you shouldn't say things when you don't know all the facts, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's life. I do that. I try to practice that all the time, but it's cool, dude. Whatever. And I told him to pop by tonight, and I'll sell it to you, but he didn't show up. That's cool.
That's cool. It's a good comic. You know what I mean? Like, I would love it. Like, I joke around with people. I just was talking with Rini from the Fiendish, and I was like, if I hit $100,000, I was talking to Mandy Summers the other day. If I hit $100,000, you guys are all flying to New York, and we're gonna make up our own characters and role playing, and we're gonna record us playing a role playing session.
Oh, you little nerd! D&D shit. Yeah,
total nerd.
I popped in the other day. I didn't know what you guys were talking about.
Come over and be Nancy Moon. How's that?
Oh no, I don't want to be a woman. No, but I could come over there and play bongos and be like Matthew McConaughey. And
there you go. Take your shirt off.
Yeah.
You're a Marine. You can take your shirt
off. That's right. Yeah. I mean, like.
Yeah. So you saw the exchange, but saw that you'd had. Yeah. Again, I stayed out of it because I'm like, I obviously don't know what's going on, but it confused me.
It's funny because there's this guy. Like, I try not to, I mean, because I do have, potential backers out there looking at me, or backers I have now. They're like, oh, this guy's a dickhead for no reason, or he's going to be in a peckerhead and like just stirring the shit. I'm not backing him on the next campaign, or I'm asked for refund. But I just saw him, and like this whole Eric July thing, and with Ethan, he touched on it, and he was like, you guys are just mad because he's a successful black man in comics. I was like, if you ever see me quote tweet somebody, I'm either really trying to put a spotlight on it being really funny, or them being really stupid. And he's like, I'm just like, have you ever heard of the guy, was it Dwayne McDuffie?
Yeah.
He was pretty successful in comics.
Yeah.
My friend Aaron, he does Wolfsbane. He's got a Pendragon coming out. He's black.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was on my comic book team up with RJ and I.
Aaron Jordan. I couldn't think of his last name for a second. I was going to say Johnson. That's not it.
His comic looks phenomenal.
Oh yeah, the Pendragon thing looks fire looking, man. I'm definitely picking that up.
I don't know what the point is. Like, black people in comics.
What does it mean? Like, why do you have to default? Why do you have to default to that? Because like we've been complaining about the other side, like always bringing up race into it. Like, dude, when somebody tells you something or talks about something you don't like, you immediately default to their race. Come on, bro, you're better than that. This is America. This is 2024. My generation solved the racial problem, and guess what? Votes went down.
I tell you, I'm Generation X. We don't play.
I don't care. Like, I was in the Army. To me, everybody was green. I don't care.
If you've been following me, I've been doing these interviews now for well over a year. I never mentioned. I had Mandy and Rini on my channel. I never mentioned that they're women. I never mentioned their looks. We just talk about comics. I've had Asian, black. I never mention race. I don't care. I want to talk about comic books. I talk about four color comics. I mean,
Yeah.
so when people start mentioning, because I criticized a few things about Eric July's comic, and I'll say it to his face. I don't feel like I'm telling tales on, but to, thankfully nobody ever threw it at me. Oh, you're just criticizing. Like, no, I think my complaints were legitimate, and I said it to Eric, and he, did what he does, kind of sidestepped it, but that's besides the point. But nobody ever, like what you said, when somebody like, oh, you're only saying that because he's Italian. It's like, what the fuck does this have
I
to
mean,
do?
bro, just own it. If people don't like his comic book, that's their right to say.
I
They'll
can't
say
wait
it's
till somebody
because
tells me I don't like comic
Just maybe because they don't like it because it sucks, or maybe they thought that it was something that they didn't. Like I
yeah.
bought a comic book from a creator. I completely misinterpreted what the comic book was about. I didn't like it. But just accept it and move on. Like
I can't wait till
the
somebody says
failure
they don't like
to be able to respond positively and effectively to criticism, it's just weak. You're never gonna grow. Like Ethan was talking about. I don't tune into Ethan that much because he's on late.
Yeah, he's on late
And I
at
got my
6 hours.
family, and so like he was saying when he goes in there and he's bringing him stuff here, he's like they rip it apart. They're like, this sucks. This fucking sucks. Competition and criticism will create character.
Yep.
You're never going to get any better unless somebody tells you what you're doing wrong.
Right. I like I said, I sent out my script to people and they ripped it to shreds, and it hurt, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like, oh, that was, but I took it to heart. And a couple of days later, I was like, yeah, they were right. And I didn't throw out the script. I took what I wanted and I rewrote it, and I shuffled issues around because they were absolutely 100% right. And I'm not going to mention names, but somebody sent me a script of one of their comics, and I didn't want to say anything because I thought we would stop being friends over my criticisms. You know what I mean? So I said, remember, you came to me and I tore it apart, and this person's credit. He was like, wow, that's some good insights. I'm going to, and and I said, I'll gladly help you, but what should I have said? Waste your time and money, put out a comic nobody's going to like.
Believe me, I know what it's like to, especially in like a DM group, to have an individual not be able to accept criticism, and he takes it as a personal attack and then loses his mind and blocks everybody. Right, Pixel, we know who that is.
I don't know who it is, but I can imagine.
I could tell you. I could tell you at some point it's not important because he's not important. But
don't ask if you're afraid, and also keep in mind, like, I'm making a comic book that if you like superhero comics, you're gonna love my comic. But if you don't like my comic, you hate it because I'm Irish and Italian. That's the only reason, right? Now, if you don't like it, I'm gonna adopt Stan Lee. You're gonna say that you're gonna be the new Stan Lee, act like the new Stan Lee, and say you didn't like my comic book. I'm sorry, true believer, but next time we're gonna, adapt and change and make it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't fight with
and you listen to your audience.
Yeah. You listen to your audience. Stan Lee, I'm sure this is before your time, but Stan Lee was like, we don't have enough women reading comics. So he made comics geared for women, and he made Shanna the She-Devil, Beware the Claws of the Cat, and Night Nurse. They all lasted 4 issues. Did Stan Lee say that everybody was bigots and blah, 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 blah? No, he was just like, oh, well, we tried. It didn't work. He moved on.
I'm showing you that the girls aren't reading comics.
You know what I mean? So
they're reading Wonder Woman.
Stan Lee was just like, okay, we're going to do this. Oh, that didn't work. Let's go over here. I got no time to deal. You know what I mean? He's like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, people, you can call me sexist if you want. I never read Wonder Woman. You know why? Because it's a woman. It's because it's a woman. Like, none of that interests me. She didn't have superpowers. She had a whip that could make you tell the truth. As a only child, that's the last thing I wanted was my mother to have a golden lasso to make me tell the truth. Didn't interest me. None of that interested me.
Well, I'll tell you, I was interested in Wonder Woman because I saw Linda Carter in that costume back when I was a little kid.
Oh yeah, I'm still interested in Linda Carter.
She's superhuman in her beauty. And I tell you, I wasn't interested in Wonder Woman comics until George Perez. He made them excellent. They were some of my favorite comics. The George Perez Wonder Woman, they were excellent. But before that, they were just like hokey, But then again, most of most of DC was hokey
Yeah, I
pre-crisis.
was never really. Yeah, I never read any DC. That I knew who they were. I knew Superman and Batman and Aquaman. I knew the Super Friends. I knew all that, but like I didn't know who was it
I,
the
you know,
Blue
I know
Demon,
somebody got
Blue
mad. He was
Devil.
like, "Us comic book people, like we could recite the Green Lantern pledge by heart, right?"
Yeah,
And I can't. I hate Green Lantern. And he was like, I was like,
I
growing up,
like Green. I like Green Lantern.
I didn't like Green Lantern until I'd say like the past 20 years. But as a kid, I was just like, the color yellow is his weakness. This is so stupid. Like, this is for babies. This is, and I've been buying old Justice League comics and reading them and old Green. And I'm like, I see the charm now, but as a kid, I wouldn't have touched it with gold.
In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight, or something like that.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
just know it ends with beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he felt so betrayed that I couldn't recite the pledge.
Well, I mean, I guess Marvel was more like, for the younger kids. I don't know how DC fell off so much that they did,
What, modern
before
times, or are you talking like
before like Crisis,
well,
like the
I do
original Crisis.
on Sundays. I do Sunday comics. I don't know if you've ever seen that at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do Sunday comics, and I take out key issues and show them for my collection. Like I did Fantastic Four #1, Justice League #1.
Right.
This Sunday I'm doing the first appearance of the Doom Patrol, My Greatest Adventure. Like, these are the actual comics, the ads and everything. So I showed Justice League #1. I don't have their first appearance in The Brave and the Bold, but and I showed it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to compare this to Fantastic Four #1. And the audience and I were talking, and I was like, the difference is Stan Lee took the audience seriously, and he did not pander to children. They told an interesting story with interesting flaws, whereas I'm sure Gardner Fox and I can't even think of the other guy's name. They were just like, the kids are like this crap. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely think they were just like, the kids are stupid. Just give them this formula that we've been doing. So I really do think that the 60s and early 70s DC, except for the Westerns and the war comics, you read 70s, like 1972 Jonah Hex comics. Whoa, my, they're still outstanding today. If you like Vertigo, get the Jonah Hex series. Oh my, especially the last appearance of Jonah Hex, that blew me away how good it was.
Yeah, you're not the first person to say that to me too. I also like the 70s, the monster stuff. Like, I have the Tomb of Dracula.
Yeah, that was good. Tomb of Dracula took a while to hit its stride. I think it took
but
like
once they started bringing in like the history of the Van Helsings and all that stuff, and it got pretty good. Then you get Blade, and Werewolf by Night. I like that stuff. I even like the '90s Morbius series. Like, that's a hidden gem.
Oh, I think I have that, but I know I didn't read it.
That's where he like gained like he drank like a demon blood or something. He gained like a power. He could like stretch his body and stuff and be all crazy and shit with it and contort his body. But
I was always vaguely resentful for not vaguely. I was outright resentful for Image because they took all the talent from Marvel and DC, and then late '90s Marvel wasn't that good.
It wasn't, man. I was, like I said, I wasn't even reading it.
Yeah.
Mutant X like was the only real title I collected there at the end, and Hulk, like I couldn't.
But I'm with you. The Image, the Vertigo comics were where it's at for me. I was a full-on literary snob. Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol literally changed my life.
Yeah.
When he took over Doom Patrol, he would put like a little list of books to read, like, and I read that. Next thing you know, I'm reading them Jack Kerouac stuff that I vaguely was aware of, and I packed up and I moved across the country. And I'm
just like Jack, huh?
Yeah, just like Jack. I owe it all to Grant Morrison. And so I'm always loyal to him. But I agree with you. His X-Men was a little too.
I didn't
weird.
like his Batman thing. Like, people were like, "Oh, it's cool. Look at what he did with Batmite," and like, this obscure Batman from the '70s.
I didn't even know he wrote Batman. This must be recent.
Yeah, maybe 6 years ago? The Zur NR. I don't know. It was weird, dude.
And I know he was on Green Lantern, and I was like, "Oh, that might be interesting," because Green Lantern's kind of cosmic. I should pick that. But I thought his JLA was great.
Oh my God, yes, because he brought it back. He distilled it down to what the JLA was.
The 7 best superheroes for DC. Wow, brilliant.
and I'm going to give you a threat that only they can solve.
Yeah,
And that was it. That's it.
that
And then he
uriel with
brought in
Sorrow,
like
with
Zuriel was a good character.
Aquaman is swimming through like Lake Michigan,
Yeah,
and
that
then
was
all of
the
a sudden,
time that was really when I started reading more DC.
oh, man,
Was like
that
during like when Hal Jordan lost his ever loving mind. After that, like what was it like Zero Hour?
yeah.
After Zero Hour, I read a lot of DC, and I was like
I was
I was
as
maybe
much as I did
50-50 with Marvel,
I
maybe even
didn't
more.
like Green Lantern. That whole turning them into Parallax kind of ruined the
It was
character.
brilliant, man. Say what
I
you
don't know.
want
Once
about
a
Ron
superhero
Morris, but that was
kills,
brilliant.
like I still can't get into Hal Jordan. I'm like, you blew up a city. You know, you're supposed to be willpower. You should have resisted.
Oh no, it was just an evil alien. No big deal.
I know.
Jeff Johns kind of copped it out on that one, but I mean, Green Lantern Rebirth is what brought me back to comics. Like I've told the story so many times on stream. Probably the first
Marcus
time I
says
was on with you.
the Vertigo guys, yeah, they all had kind of a left wing slant, but again, I could deal with it. And I had JMD and Mateus on my channel. We had a wonderful conversation, because there's a difference between having a left wing slant, like Ann Nesenti and stuff, and being a freak job progressive that thinks men can become women.
I do have to cut this short here in about 10 minutes. I gotta head up.
Yeah, I know. You got to get going.
The lady.
So anything you want to say then? Anything you want to bring up that I
well, I mean, if you want to keep this mythical train rolling, and you want to jump on board, now's the perfect time. You can get both issues at a low price.
Yeah, that was my question. You could still get both issues.
Yep. It's an add-on on Indiegogo, and it's a separate reward on Fund My Comic. Just trust yourself and read. There's a coupon code. You can save yourself $6. You can, if you choose either cover A or B. Cover C is an extra $2 because it's a phenomenal wraparound. Covers A and B, and issue 1, which is a flip cover of both covers of issue 1, for $33, including shipping anywhere in the continental United States.
There you go. Are you doing a digital tier too?
Digital tier, yeah. I got original art. I have collector's boxes. I got it all.
Oh wow, collector's box. You see, I'm still, I had big plans for my campaign, but I think my first one, I think I'm gonna just keep it simple.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
I went a little all out on the first one, and
yeah, I want to
with the original animation. Pedro Ang is good at what he does. He is great at what he does, but he's worth every penny, and it's more than a few pennies.
Yeah, but you get what you pay for.
I did, and I got a trailer with animation that people still today are like, dude, you had one of the coolest trailers ever. I know.
I have my calculator done soon.
He's working on a like a spreadsheet type deal, or like a website type where you go to and it's going to list everything you think you might need to run a basic campaign on, like, costs,
okay, that's a good idea.
How much you're going to pay your artist, how much all the page count. It's going to give you, it's like a budget estimator. It's like a low level thing, but it'll give you a baseline on what you want to do.
Crom has there's a YouTube channel called Razor Sharp Balloons. He made a video called Recampaign, and it's everything how to build a campaign. I think that is like 101 for people making comic book campaigns. A lot of us are helping each other.
Yeah, because I mean, people are like, well, you don't want everyone to succeed. I want the good books to succeed. I want the ones who see right there. Yep.
Oh, Argo. Hey, Argo, how you doing? We grew up in the same comic book store together. Known them for 40 freaking years.
Well.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Small world.
Yeah, Dan's been on my channel too. Another guy. He'll help you, makes good comics. He'll help you. What's a Bogan raid? I've seen this before.
Oh, Bancroft's people.
Oh, okay.
Bogans and Brigands, come back to Mythicals because I'm about to go.
Okay, Bogan raid. Okay, so he's telling them to come here. That's a good thing then.
Yeah.
I saw that the other day. Thank you, Michael Bancroft. I can't wait for your comic too. The Lucens looks amazing.
Oh, the Lucen's great. It's right there.
Yeah,
it's right there.
Oh, see, I didn't get it. I'm backing the first 2 issues. I already backed.
And there's my inker that just popped in. Here's the thing: it's All right, all the Bogans who just popped in
Yeah.
is a horror action mystery. It cobbles together the best parts of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Wildcats and mixes it with a little X-Files conspiracy. And so you have a covert task force comprised of creatures of myth and legend who recruit young Nancy Moon to aid their search for the pieces of 8 that could prevent the apocalypse. Or kickstart it, we'll see.
Yeah, there you go. See, I thank you for explaining what a Bogan raid is. I was like, all right.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah,
Bogans,
hit
like
the
and
like
subscribe.
button and back to
Tell
Blair.
Michael Bancroft thank you, and can't wait for him to come on my channel. Go on his channel. We'll talk. There you go. I don't know what else to say.
Mhm.
All right, back to mythicals. Hojo's a good guy, man. It's been a while since you've been on my channel. You were one of the
Yep.
originals to come on my channel, so thanks.
Yeah, man, you've come a long way.
Thank you.
We had a lot of big people on here. Sorry about the Fabian thing. Sometimes, whatever.
What am I
But
going to do?
yeah.
Oh,
Michael Bancroft, while you're here, tomorrow is exactly 1 year since I launched my first book on your channel.
And Michael,
Pretty insane.
I was the #1 backer for issue #2 on your channel. Yeah.
I mean, shit.
I look at Fabian
insane.
as an ex-girlfriend. We had some fine moments together, but it
Yeah.
just won't work out.
And that's what I tell people about the mainstream. I'm like, or the corporate side, whatever you want to call it. You shit on it and you talk about it all the time and you get so angry. Bro, she's your ex. She doesn't want you anymore. She has moved on.
Right.
Remember the good times. Look at the pictures.
Marvel.
Remember how good it felt. Remember how good it felt.
We had some good times together, but you know what? I can't
But
look
now
back
you
anymore.
can laugh when she fucks up. You can look and be like, I'm glad I'm not with that shit anymore. That bitch is crazy.
My ex-girlfriend, I don't wish her any ill will. Good luck. We didn't work out, baby, but a good luck in the future.
Good luck with that over there. Good luck with that.
You had this. You had this.
You had this. You had my money. I was easily $40 almost every 2 weeks.
You had me in a Burger King parking lot every Wednesday. That was my thing. I'd go to the comic store on Wednesday, go to the Burger King, read the comics with French. I couldn't wait.
That's weird. My comic shop was near a Burger King too, like within walking distance. It was right next to a Subway.
Yeah.
Now it's a Middle Eastern grocery.
So many people would say that they would go on Wednesday, drive to the comic store, and then they wouldn't make it home because they were Burger King, White Castle, Taco Bell, whatever, in the parking lot reading comics. So that was me and you, baby. I remember those times. Getting ketchup on my Fantastic Four.
But now I got a new girlfriend.
I got a new girlfriend.
Me right.
That's
right, and I'm better than that. Okay, I am somebody.
Yeah, I got a new girlfriend. It's Private American.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike Barron.
Yeah.
And that you want to talk about trailers? That trailer pissed everyone off. Because at the end, it's like a quote of Kamala Harris, but we have a secure border. Like it's just like Chris Braley. I look at him, I'm like, that one was beautiful, and they hate you for it.
Yeah. You can't cancel a guy who's working for himself. You know what I mean?
No,
they tried. They tried to cut him down. They only made him stronger.
Yeah, it's just at some point you just gotta leave well enough alone. Like the X-Men 97 thing. I'm not even going into it. I don't care anymore. I wasn't gonna watch it anyway because I don't have Disney Plus.
I wasn't gonna watch it anyway because I didn't watch the cartoon. I already quit.
I did. I liked it because I was 10, 11 years old when it came out. Yeah. So, I was 10 years old when Image happened. That was imagine being 10 years old when X-Men and Spider-Man and all that happened and Fantastic. Imagine being 10 years old when Fantastic Four came out.
Yeah.
How amazing all of that seems to you.
I was 10 years old when Star Wars came out.
You're at the birth of something monumental in history. It. You could feel it.
Yeah.
It was there. It was. I didn't know the story behind it. I didn't know. I just knew these people from. I didn't know what I knew. Jim Lee. I assumed Jim Lee might have been Asian, but I didn't know what any of them looked like. I didn't know what Rob Liefeld looked like until I saw him in a Levi's 501 jeans commercial.
Yeah, me too. I was like, why?
I had no idea. Did not care. Couldn't care for the life of me. So I didn't know the story. I just knew the names and the art. I could look at them like, oh, that's Mark Silvestri, that's Jim Lee, that's
Yes.
Portaccio or whatever. Um, it was just you could feel it. It was there. I'm like, oh, dude, you talking about like Eric Larson? All these people are starting their own company, and they're all these new characters. Saw Spawn because Youngblood was the first one to come out. I think you saw that come out, and then you see all these other books. I'm like, oh my god, it literally is a whole nother universe just got birthed.
Yeah.
Because I
You know,
don't remember the new universe stuff with Marvel and all
oh,
that.
I do. I do.
Yeah, I know. I see the facial, like, I do, but it was there. It was electric. You could feel it. Like
Yeah.
there were literally
Like
lines
I
in
said, I
comic
got caught
shops.
up in it. I bought all the number ones that I could from Image, but it didn't rope
Oh, I
me
like
in.
Silverhawks. Yeah, I don't know what Saber Rider is. That sounds like
Yeah, I
lesbian
don't
porn.
remember Saber Riders, but I remember Galaxy Rangers and Silverhawks.
Yeah,
The X Men that I know too young to read before the comic. Yeah, yeah. I just, I didn't. I only caught the Batman animated series because it was on after I was in college at the time, and I would come home from college and turn on the TV, and it was on, and I
such
fell in
such
love with that.
greatness.
That's
Such
still my
greatness.
favorite Batman.
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old or soon to be 6-year-old and a soon to be 3-year-old. They're not watching Batman the animated series for a while because it is a little too much for a 5-year-old. Because there's some dark episodes, like the Two-Face episodes. That's harsh. The Clayface episodes, that's horror, man. Like my friend Aldous was talking about it today. That it's like the closest like horror Batman that they've ever gotten right, and he's always right. So
I'll
tune
tell
into
you,
the gutter tonight at 11:30.
issue 3 of Heroic Tales is going to be horror Batman. Literally, it's going to be a horror comic, like with the like it's to
And
me,
horror is hard, man.
it's going to be a horror Batman inspired comic book. That's all I'm spoiling right now.
Yeah, I mean, horror is hard. I had a guy tell me on a stream, he's like, "You got a horror comic and it's a floppy. Good luck selling 50 issues." I'm like, he, he's like, "What did you say?" He was like, "You might get like 30 or 40 backers." I'm like, "Well, I had on the first one, I had 344. So
Well,
suck it,
talk to
suck
Brian
it,
Bow.
dude."
He's doing Wolf and Batsy right now, and
Yeah,
it's selling Wolf and Batsy.
yeah, and he's been
Wolf,
doing that for a while, though, man. Right?
yeah, but he's doing his own independent
Yeah.
comic right now.
So, but like horror, especially like I said, is hard because you got to like page turns are especially important
Yeah,
when it
to
comes to
me,
this genre.
I won't write comedy. I think comedy is probably the hardest.
And see, I have to do it. I inject it. Like if you read issue 1 with the little
Yeah,
line about the cheesecake when he's like in his face, he's like, "God, your breath stinks." And he's like, "There's nothing special about you." He's like, "That's not true. I know how to cook a perfect cheesecake. The trick is a water bath, which you could clearly benefit from." And that's funny because like if you're in a wartime situation, sometimes you can't help but somebody rip a fart and everybody just start laughing. That's how real people are, man. Like that's how I am. Like I inject comedy into every day of my life because you have to laugh because the world's just so terrible. Because I've seen it. I've seen the worst this world has to offer, man.
yeah, I can imagine.
So, but I have to wrap it up and get out of here. I hate
Yeah,
to
you got to
end
get
it
what
on
you like. I
a
understand.
bad
But
bad
thanks.
note. All right, Bogans, back to Mythicals.
Yep.
Um, what can I say? It's a badass story that you can't put down. You can't stop looking at.
I love Batman 66. I bought the DVDs. I still watch it. I love Batman
Oh
66
yeah. I have a few on my DVR. We watched it.
and
They like
the
when they do
Batman
the
animated series.
onomatopoeia or whatever, and they just laugh.
Yeah. I remember watching it before I could even read POW. And Mom, what does that say? And she would have to read them to me,
Mm,
you know,
Biff,
little John's long box.
suck.
All right. Oh, here we go. Thanks, Marcus. Wolf and Batsy. Yeah, I just talked about him. Fun My Comic. Brian Bow. Great guy, great comics. And, horror. You like blood, you like werewolves, you like cute vampires.
Yeah,
Good luck selling 50. He's selling more than 50, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah. I'll turn those pretty great.
Well, he's on his own now. It's bloody
Oh,
weird.
that's right. He did. Yeah, I heard
On
about
his
that.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. George Reeves Superman is also good. I got it. Got to
Oh,
agree.
I got it all, baby. Don't you
And the Adventures
worry.
of
I got
Superman
that.
was a great comic. Great show.
But the Batman, I can show it to him as like the Batman. It's the one that had like the U2 theme song. Like the guy from the guitar player from U2, The Edge, it was like I think his name's Robert Romano or something. Does the voice? That's the
Oh,
one
oh,
that has like the Joker where he doesn't have like shoes on. He's like kind of like he's got long
oh,
hair and he's all like an
oh,
ape.
it was a
What
cartoon after the animated series.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
called
I
the
didn't.
Batman.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. The art looked a little off for me.
Yeah, but it's good for children. They don't give a shit.
It's good for children.
Yeah,
Okay,
they just know it's Batman.
okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot. I'm gonna close this down. My throat is killing me.
Yeah, man. Sorry, I kept you talking.
That's fine. I was enjoying it. I was definitely enjoying it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the Brogans for raiding by. That was nice of you guys. Thank you. And let's put up your link one more time. Mythicals #2. You could get issue #1 and you could get issue #2. There you
That's
go.
right.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. See ya.